Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and meaning. Welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome to those of you joining us live stream. My name is Shannon, and I'll be your worship host today. I'm also the Vice President of the Board of Directors, and I serve on the Worship Committee and the Safety Team. It's great to be with you. Our minister, Rev. Kate, is off today. She is spending the weekend oystering with her dad. Our guest preacher this morning is Bruce de Ste Croix. Bruce is on the Worship Committee, the Pastoral Care Team, and the Safety Team. Thank you so much for offering your message to us this morning, Bruce. Before we begin our service, I have a few announcements to share. This afternoon at 5, great music is going to be the Bulgarian piano, tradition and improvisations, featuring John Thomas and a special guest. We thank everyone who has been donating items to our little free pantry. And with such heavy use this summer, we encourage anyone who can to pick up a few items for the pantry while you're doing your shopping. Thank you. After today's service, we invite you to join us for coffee and conversation out on the lawn. Our very own Kurt Reynolds is having an art opening at the Commons on Saturday, August 27th from 4 to 7 p.m. The show is called How Far is the World? And it highlights Provincetown's maritime history as well as environmental and social concerns. It uses forgotten, discarded, lost, and treasured materials as the palette for his constructions. We're going to recite the covenant. Let's take a moment now to affirm the Meetinghouse covenant. I will say a line, and then you'll repeat it back to me. Love is the spirit of this Meetinghouse. This is our great covenant. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now is the time to light our chalice. As we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you at home to light a candle wherever you are. In this way, we can feel connected even when we're apart. From Hildegard Bingen. I am divine fiery life, blazing over the full ripened grain. I am the gleam in the reflection of the waters. I burn in the sun and moon and stars. In the breeze I have secret life, animating all things and lending them cohesion. From Twyla Niche. I listen and hear the silence. I listen and see the silence. I listen and taste the silence. I listen and smell the silence. I listen and embrace the silence.
Please join me now in a spirit of meditation and prayer. If you have a joy or a sorrow on your heart this morning, you are welcome to light a silent candle during the prayer or at any time during the service at the table to the right of the pulpit. And there is a journal there to record your thoughts and prayers. A revision of a prayer from Francis of Assisi. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. And where there is sadness, joy. May I not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in forgiving that we are forgiven, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. And a translation from Rumi. O love, O pure, deep love, be here, be now, be all. Worlds dissolve into your stainless, endless radiance. Frail, living leaves burn with you, brighter than cold stars. Make me your servant, your breath, your core.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí, y a corazón, cántale tu compasión. Soplar, volar, sube en la mar, hasta morir, la justicia de la vida. Aréngame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
The reading this morning. Life is a challenge. Meet it. Life is a gift. Accept it. Life is an adventure. Dare it. Life is a sorrow. Overcome it. Life is a tragedy. Face it. Life is a duty. Perform it. Life is a game. Play it. Life is a mystery. Unfold it. Life is a song. Sing it. Life is an opportunity. Take it. Life is a journey. Complete it. Life is a promise. Fulfill it. Life is a love. Embrace it. Life is a beauty. Praise it. Life is a spirit. Realize it. Life is a struggle. Fight it. Life is a puzzle. Solve it. Life is a goal. Achieve it. Now is the time in our service where we take a collection for the ongoing support of this meeting house and our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org. Or off-site, your offering will now be greatly, or I should say on-site, your offering will now be greatly received.
Our world is one world. What touches one affects us all. The seas that wash us round about, the clouds that cover us, the rains that fall. Our world is one world. The thoughts we think affect us all. The way we build our attitudes with love or hate we make, a bridge or wall. Our world is one world. Its ways of wealth affect us all. The way we spend, the way we share, who are the rich or poor, who stand or fall. Our world is one world, just like a ship that bears us all. where fear and greed make many holes, and where our hearts can hear a different call.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Maya Angelou wrote, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." And on the heels of her writings, I add what Søren Kierkegaard wrote, "Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced." It's late morning in last July on the island in Maine, where I spend 2 weeks each year writing. Here I can let my body, mind, and spirit rest from the regular routines of my daily life on Cape Cod. Everyone else is off elsewhere on the island, being busy with small tasks or long chats. I sit in my cozy cabin by the shore of this huge lake, hearing nothing but the breeze and the light lapping of small waves. My mind floods back to February 14th of this year, when Connor, my chocolate lab companion for 13 years, died, and my heart was torn, ripped, and broken. I was shattered and lost in the kind of grief that blinds and leaves us gutted. It took months before memories of Connor inspired me to remember a major lesson that Connor, that beautiful dog, had taught me every day, over and over again, throughout all our years together. Connor lived his whole life with an open heart. Now, I'm not talking about unconditional love. It wasn't his unconditional love that he was teaching me. He was teaching me what it meant to practice living with an open heart, loving life with both its ups and its downs. Myself, I'd say that unconditional life is like an underground aquifer or a spring. It flows undeterred by judgments or obstructions to its goal. It has a single reason or focus, and that is to constantly be prepared to give love to a person or inspired mission. It is unimpeded by circumstances or reflections. It holds no expectations or need for reciprocation. However, the practice of nurturing an open heart, on the other hand, is the conscious and deliberate decision to allow our heart to feel the entirety of our life's circumference, come what may. An open heart can experience the heights of ecstasy and the depths of despair. It is why the practice of living with an open heart requires being present to what the heart feels now and how it reacts. For me, 2 simple supports for practicing nurturing an open heart come from the Dalai Lama. The first, an open heart is an open mind. And the second, I find hope in the darkest days and focused in the brightest. I do not judge the universe. And one other support for my practice is closer to home. It's our Meetinghouse covenant. We share it on Sundays and at the beginning and end of many of our congregational meetings. Love, is the spirit of this meeting house. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I think of it as a declaration about choosing to live with an open heart. Living with and practicing nurturing our open hearts requires real courage and daring. Through it, we daily allow ourselves to be vulnerable to the unknowns that all lives present. And it requires compassion for all things, including ourselves. What Connor seemed to offer me by just being himself were quiet lessons about the open heart, right until his death when he trusted me to make the right decisions. Like all living creatures, Connor experienced fears. For example, when he would take boat rides, he would lie flat as a pancake in the middle of the boat, shivering, till it docked. But when he disembarked, he shook himself and immediately seemed to ask, "Now, can I be happy?" It was as though his open heart, no matter how trying an experience was, would allow him to look around and say, "Okay, now, what's next?" Through his example, I've found that I too have adopted the same attitude of a more resilient open heart. After feeling distress or experiencing difficulty deeply and fully, I find myself being able to look forward and say, "Okay, now, what's next?" Saying and feeling it with a clear, open heart, anticipating whatever my life holds in store next. I originally titled this sharing, Open Heart, Broken Heart, Healed Heart, Open Heart. Because when Connor died, my open heart broke and it felt like it would never heal. But it did heal. And is sometimes the case, it healed stronger and more open than before. Nurturing living with an open heart is a dynamic and challenge-filled journey. As the Dalai Lama has said, every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life, and I am not going to waste it. Dr. Summer Schultz, an educator, is quoted as saying, "My capacity to break was not a burden or a punishment. It was my gift. My gift was to dare to be broken open again and again." Or as Helen Keller put it simply, "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart." Like most things in nature, the open hearts we practice nurturing have rhythms and cycles. They open fully like glorious blossoms. They close and lay dormant. They reach out, and sometimes they are broken. Thomas Merton reminds us in his book, New Seeds of Contemplation, true prayer and love are really learned when prayer becomes impossible and the heart turns to stone. True prayer and love are really learned when prayer becomes impossible and your heart turns to stone. We have the opportunity each day to be conscious and present to what our open hearts are feeling and sharing. The opportunity to practice nurturing resilience, a foundation of compassion and love to support the awesome adventure of having open hearts that can encompass infinite possibilities. But how do we nurture our open hearts to accept the harder realities of our current world? Rampant gun violence, trauma, mental health, economic disparity, entrenched systemic racial injustice, indigenous peoples' loss of political rights, culture, language, water and land rights, climate change, the sea level rises, and the permafrost melts and another town disappears. How do we encompass these or more personal issues with an open heart? I believe we begin with understanding that with each breath, each thought, and each feeling, our open hearts have been growing stronger, more resilient and compassionate. Martin Luther King wrote, "The nonviolent approach does not immediately change the heart of the oppressor. It first does something to the hearts and souls of those committed to it. It gives them a new self-respect. It calls up resources of strength and courage that they did not know they had. Finally, it reaches the opponent and so stirs his conscience that reconciliation becomes a reality." And from the Buddhist text, the Dhammapada, "For in truth, in this world, hatred is not appeased by hatred. Hatred is appeased by love alone. This is the eternal law. Conquer the angry one by not getting angry. Conquer the wicked with goodness. Conquer the stingy by generosity, and the liar by speaking the truth." Now, I amend these truly wise quotes with my own limited experience of practicing living with an open heart. My open heart can feel burning anger, accept that feeling, and still choose not to respond with anger. I can feel stingy and choose not to be ungenerous. It is one reason why nurturing the practice of being conscious and present to our open hearts' ever-changing experiences is so very important. Thus, they never stop growing stronger, and their circumference expands. The open heart does not deny us our human feelings and human reactions. It encourages us to bear witness to them and then consciously choose to act from a spirit of love. The open heart allows us to love life as it unfolds, wholeheartedly in union with our whole being. 800 years ago, a Flemish mystic, Jan van Ruysbroek, said, "Unity is this, that you feel yourself to be gathered together with all your powers in the unity of your heart. Unity brings inward peace and restfulness of heart. Unity of heart is a bond which draws together body and soul, heart and senses, and all the outward and inward powers, and encloses them in the union of love." I know now that living my life with an open heart is the path that I've become dedicated to. Maybe I always was and just never noticed it so clearly before. But I am certain now that I know no other way to express my love and deep gratitude for the gift of living a life of trials and glories. I, with my whole being, choose to open my heart as wide as I am able to fears, losses, discouragement, to laughter, astonishment, the love of friends, and outrageous joy. I know deep in my being that my heart will be broken again, and that if I keep loving, even loving what was just lost, it will heal and find new paths of joy and happiness. Okay, now, what's next? Amen. Blessed be. It has become our practice here at the Meetinghouse, and those of you at home. It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of dinner conversation tonight, or a question to pose to friends during the week. And if you'd like to delve deeper into this question, you can join us on Zoom Tuesday at 5. You can just call the Meetinghouse for the link. Here's the question. What new gift or challenge has life presented to you recently? What new gift or challenge has life presented to you recently? Thank you for joining us this morning. Blessed be. Oh, and for total transparency, 13 days ago, life brought me a gift and a challenge, a 9-month-old puppy.